as we grow in our relationship with God, there's a question that often comes up in people's hearts that I think is very reasonable. What does God want from me? What is He going to ask of me? What does He want to take from me? And the answer to that question is actually surprising for most people. God doesn't want anything from you. Let me say that again. God doesn't want anything from you. He wants you. He wants all of you. In fact, His love is so great, He wants all of us. When Jesus is saying today in the gospel, reminding the scribes of the greatest commandment in the law, that we must love the Lord our God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, He's saying that God isn't interested in just part of us. He wants everything of us. He actually wants us. Why? Because He is a lover. He's in love with us and He wants the beloved. Just like you and I, as we love, we want the beloved. We don't want anything from the person. We want the person themselves. And it's critically important for us as Christians, as we hear the commands of the Lord, right, that we understand the commands of the Lord in the context of a relationship of love. Otherwise, we get very defensive and say, what do you want from me? No, actually, God isn't going to ask anything of us that He first hasn't already given to us. If you look at the scriptures, this commandment is something that God has already fulfilled for each of us. He loves each of you with His whole heart, with His whole soul, with His whole mind, and all of His strength. Do you know that? Do you believe that? That's who He is. He is passionately in love with you. He's pursuing you. He thinks about you often. You're always on His mind. He's laboring to love you right now. He's sending people into your life to remind you of who He is. He wants us to turn away from that which destroys us because He's madly in love with us. And the more that we apprehend this mystery of the goodness of God and how He has already fulfilled that greatest of commandments toward us, the more that we see that the only sensible response to God, to such a God who loves us, is to love Him with everything that we have in return. And in loving Him with everything we have in return, we give to Him what He really wants, and that is us. And in doing so, we receive not stuff from God, we receive the fulfillment of our deepest desires. And that is to be one with the God of love, mercy, and life. Now, I don't know about you, this is a lot easier said than done, right? To give God everything of our hearts. How many of you have perfected giving God your heart, loving Him with your heart, mind, soul, and strength? How many? Just raise your hand. At the 5, we had at least several people raising their hand. You got it? Can you share the secret with us? There you go. See, you actually you got the next part of the homily down, which is great. But the fact is that this is very difficult. Just as marriage is difficult, just as relationships are difficult, we have to deny ourselves so we can be fully alive to the other, right? And one of the things that helps me the most, as I read the lives of the saints, as I read the writings of the doctors of the church, what helps me the most in loving is constantly being aware of the gift of love. Constantly reminding myself of the gift of how much God has already loved me. When I think to myself, I don't need to exist. I didn't make myself, but I exist. God does not need to love me. He certainly does not need to forgive me. He certainly does not need to be with me always whenever I need Him. And yet He still is. And the more I remember the gift, that everything I have is a gift from Him, the more I'm willing to make sacrifices to love Him in return. To remember the gift. That thanksgiving is such a critical part of the Christian life that in a certain sense, everything that we do in the Christian life is done out of thanksgiving to God. At the heart of worship and prayer is thanksgiving. What do we call the Eucharist? The word Eucharist in Greek means thanksgiving. that we are presenting to the Father the one sacrifice of Christ that has pleased him, and we're uniting our lives as a living sacrifice back to him, so that when we die, we can have that exchange of love, which is knowing God's love for eternity. And as Christians, we have so much to be thankful for. This past summer, I gave an announcement to the parish, and the parish responded, every single Mass, responded with applause and great thanksgiving. Does anyone remember what that was? I hear mumbling on this side. Do you guys remember what that was? Okay, so I gave an announcement that that the bishop and I in the finance council were able to work out this new deal regarding the debt we have with regard to the school. Right? We took out, for those who are new, we took out a $10.6 million debt in order to build our phenomenal school off of Orndorff Road. Right? The school, which in many ways people are going to because it's such a healthy school, both in the leadership but also in the property is just outstanding. I even heard someone say it's like the Taj Mahal of private schools in Livingston County. It's a kind of an interesting way of saying Catholic Church is Taj Mahal, whatever. So leave that there. Right? So the idea is that we have a lot to be thankful for. The bishop is giving us 2 years of interest-free payments straight to the principal. Witness to Hope money that we raised before, all of that going to the parish, from the parish part, goes straight to principal interest-free. And they're even giving us a $1 million match straight to principal interest-free. This is incredible. So I want to actually bring up a school dad, or a guy in our parish, a parishioner, who sent his kids to our school to tell us a little bit more about what we can do as a parish to take advantage of this incredible gift that God has given to us. So John, come forward, please.
Thank you, Father. Good morning. How's everyone today? Good. My name's John Doyle, and I've been a member of this parish with my family. We joined back in 1994, so we're coming up on 25 years. My wife Meg and I started our journey way back during that time and looked around, and we were searching. We really were. Like a lot of Catholics do, they go to different parishes, and we had certain criteria that we wanted to go through and fulfill as well. And one of the things that was real high on our list, although we didn't have children, was we wanted to have a parish that had a school for a lot of reasons. Both my wife Meg and I believe that to become fully formed, you need to embrace your faith on every level possible. So my wife and I have been married since 1990. We'll be celebrating 28 years in December. And we have 3 children. We have our son Jack, who will be 25 years old. We have twin daughters, Maura and Emma, who just turned 21. We looked around, and some of the churches had, they were okay. There was things we liked, some things we didn't. And it was mentioned about St. Patrick's to come here. And we said, okay, we'll try it. So we came here, and almost immediately when we came through the doors, it was almost came washed over. It was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. This feels like home. And started meeting the parishioners. They were so welcoming, and it really felt like family, that we finally made our way home. And for us, it was huge. This place has been so good to us. Our children attended school here. Our son went on to go to Catholic Central. He graduated from Holy Cross College too, down South Bend. The girls went from here over to St. Catherine of Siena Academy. My wife and I both actually work in the faith as well. I'm the Director of Advancement at Madonna University, and my wife Meg works for the Catholic Foundation. So we're all in, and I got to tell you something. When you do that fully and let yourself go like that, the Lord always does provide, truly does. Never let me down, never let my family down. So Father has mentioned that we have the school debt. Back when we first started here, we had the building right across the street here. It was a single hallway, and for those of you who have not been in that building, it was first grade, second grade, third grade, all the way down the hall. And we had this tremendous waiting list of children trying to get in, but we didn't have a place. There was not a spot on the bus, not a seat on the bus for them. And after much prayer and consideration and some pretty smart people on the parish finance council, went through and said, you know what, we have to build a new school. So we did. And it was a leap of faith. And as Father said, start off, we had $10.6 million. I'm probably just like many of you. I go through, I look at the church bulletin, and I see, yep, we keep chipping away at it. It's down to about $6 million, which is still a lot of money, but we've made some tremendous progress. And that school, although it's down the road, it is part of our family here as well, whether we send children there or not. And it's part of the greater community as well. So since Father Mathias and Father Joe has gotten here, I've seen changes in the parish as well. I see a lot of new faces. In fact, there is 246 new families that have registered. So we're growing, which is that's good news. It really is. They're here for a reason. A lot of people have been following Father Mathias, too, for a lot of good reasons also. I see God working in many special ways here at this parish, and it's making a difference. So how can you help? You know, there's a lot of ways. In my work, what I do, I ask people for money. I do. I'm not going to ask you today to go through and give any money, okay? But in your pews, you do have an envelope right here. You can see those. They're out in the vestibule as well. It says, One Mission on the front and Victory Over Debt Initiative. I'd like to stress upon you all that this is not a capital campaign. Since we've been here, there's always been there's this campaign, that campaign. In my world, we call it donor fatigue, right? You get tired, you do. But as part of our faith, we are also called to give back. We are. And many of us have the capacity to give at a tremendous amount, and others very little. What I'd like you to do today is go through, take these envelopes home with you. Take several. And I'd like you to pray and prayerfully consider to make a gift. And the reason why is this. Father had mentioned it before. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. In fact, I've not seen this in the work I do. The first $1 million we raise will be matched dollar for dollar. And that's basically like someone saying, hey, you're going to go through every mortgage payment you make. It's going to go to the principal, no interest. That's incredible. I'd like that deal. Father, can you do that deal for me? No? So you can do a one-time gift. You can do a weekly gift, monthly, quarterly. You can do a planned gift as well. Those of us that are older have to do a required minimum distribution. There's some of you out there, I see you. You're required to do that, but we are 501c3 here. We can go through. You can make a gift to St. Pat's. That gives you your deduction, reduces your overall earned income as well, and it goes to a charity, something that you can go through and look at. There's some people say, hey, John, I can't go through. I'm doing everything I possibly can right now. I can't write a check. I don't have it. Another option you can go through, look at your life insurance, look at your 401k. Name St. Pat's as a beneficiary. That's a gift, hopefully, way down the road, right, for you, but that's a way you can help as well. So again, take these home with you. Just pray. The Lord will touch your heart and tell you what to do. I know not all of you are going to do it, and that's okay too. Again, it's not the amount, it's the participation. You know, if all of us just gave a little, we'd have more money than we know what to do with. So at the end of Mass, I will be out in the back if anybody has any questions. Father's going to put my cell phone number in the bulletin next week as well. We have an 18-month window, plus or minus. We'll be going through and reporting out, not we, I mean Father, he's going to be reporting out our progress as we're going along. This will set us free. It truly will. And I'd like to close today, my favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13. Some of you are familiar with that. It's, I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We, I believe, as a family, can do this as well if we work together. So thank you very much. May God bless you, and may God bless St. Patrick's Parish. Thank you.
I want to make a few things. Some of you are probably asking, because I've received this question many times, Father, how long are you going to be here at this parish? Next year, I can't stand it. No, I was joking. I actually, when I was installed, I said to the bishop, I wanted to be here 10 to 15 years. And I saw Father Carl this summer. I don't know if you guys know, Father Carl is the vicar for clergy, so he kind of has some authority when he says things. And he and I were kind of talking about how things are going at the parish, and he says, Mathias, you have 19 more years left at St. Pat's. I said, praise God. So I'm not going anywhere, all right? But I wanted you to know, just real briefly, like, it means so much for a priest who's taking this vow of celibacy to have a parish family. Like, I really do see you as a family. I know we have a large parish. I haven't gotten to know all of you, but I see you as my family. You belong here. And if you're visiting, remember that. You belong here, right? There's this sense of God doing something really amazing in our family. I mean, John talked about how many families we have coming here. God's doing a lot of stuff. And I really want to emphasize that this is not a huge capital campaign. I don't like big capital campaigns. I know we've had a lot of them in the past, and it's been very difficult because the interest rate has been so high on these loans. But I also have to say that this deal that we got from the bishop in the diocese is unprecedented. This literally means the light is at the end of the tunnel. Within 18 months, our debt could be completely gone. So this is really amazing. Imagine what we can do with that. Who wants better and more parking? Double hands back there, right? What about this property we own across the street, developing that? Renovating the Parish Life Center. Doing more programs to reach out to our brothers and sisters who have fallen away from the faith, to get them engaged with the love of God. How about maybe some of the staff might be here, maybe paying them a better wage so they don't feel like they're working as slaves to the parish, right? There are so many things that we can do to be a light to brighten, to bring the good news of the gospel to those who do not yet know it. And this is just a great opportunity for each of us. So I just really want to say this. I'm not telling you that to stop giving to other charities that you're giving to. I mean, God is doing so many things through so many nonprofit organizations. But what I am asking you to do is to consider in the next year and a half, consider your family first. That if you have extra money, right, if you have this opportunity to give a one-time gift, or maybe over the next year and a half that you give a certain amount, I want to invite you to do that. And like John said, take these home. I'm going to be giving a year-end gift. I'm going to be writing a check for a year-end gift to this, right, dollar for dollar. But I'm also going to be taking these and putting stipends in them that I get from weddings and funerals, right? I'm really going to be giving everything that I can to actually help our parish reach this goal. In a certain sense, our parish is one of the most generous parishes in the entire diocese, and I absolutely see that. For the DSA, we have the highest participation of any parish in the entire diocese. If we can do that here, then the possibilities for this parish are endless. So I just want to say this. Everything we have is a gift from God. May our generosity to this initiative be a recognition or a sign of our thanksgiving to God for all He has given to us.